Why do these fitness influencers and coaches have such a horrible reputation? Why does nobody seem to like or trust any of them? To be honest, there's some really good reasons as to why many people don't really like or trust these people. And we're going to go over all those reasons today. There's some you may know and some you may not know. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Instagram at itsbobbyobrien. If you want shorter form content just like this, and without further ado, we'll get right into the video. So we're going to go over the first one, the big one, right, that I've talked about a lot on this channel and a lot on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all over the place, which is the big one, right? A caloric deficit. That's the number one reason why people do not like or trust fitness coaches or influencers in the online space that help people lose weight consistently, and they really don't help people. Because there's two types of influencers and two types of coaches, right? Someone who's misinformed about this, that advocates a caloric deficit, they don't really know the long-term effects of it, or they do know deep down and they don't care because they know you will always see some initial weight loss results, and they use those initial weight loss results as testimonials to bump up their social proof on Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be, where they promote their business. And that is undoubtedly true. You will see some initial weight loss results with a caloric deficit or with caloric restriction, but many people do not talk about this. I don't really see many people talking about this except me and a few other people. But you will always elevate ghrelin, a hunger hormone, suppress leptin, a satiety hormone, increase sympathetic nervous system activity, and in some instances elevate insulin, which is the ultimate predictor of how much body fat you're going to lose or gain. It's an anabolic hormone that is responsible for fat storage. And if you've watched my videos on here or on YouTube or anywhere else, you know that if your insulin stays elevated for a long period of time, your probability of storing body fat is also very high. Yet so many people on Instagram get triggered by that whenever I talk about it. But it is the truth. Imagine if you've been doing this for 5 years and then all of a sudden somebody like me comes around and actually says the truth. And this is the truth, right? There's randomized controlled data to back it up, plethora of studies that I've gone over on this channel and on many other platforms, and I have a ridiculous amount of testimonials of people that do not count or restrict calories at all and follow my hormonal-based approach where we actually optimize these hormones to lose weight, and they still see results, right? So if you're somebody that hasn't been doing that, you're like every other fitness coach or influencer, some moron that just advocates for a caloric deficit and caloric restriction. Most people are not going to like you, especially if they've done your program, because they know exactly what's going to happen the moment they get off your program. The moment they stop doing a caloric deficit, the moment they stop doing any form of caloric restriction that you told them to do, they're going to relapse. It is always going to happen. Every single time. We see the same thing every single time somebody gets into a calorically restrictive state whenever you are moving more and eating less. You elevate ghrelin, you suppress leptin, you basically increase sympathetic nervous system activity, your fight or flight nervous system, so you elevate cortisol, and you can elevate insulin in some instances. And that's why it's not sustainable, because the moment you go off your diet slightly and increase your caloric intake after inducing all of that and simultaneously slowing down your metabolic rate, you are going to see some horrible, horrible effects and horrible results. You will see all the weight come back on very quickly. So a metabolic rate that's slowed down and a complete dysfunction of all of your hormones that are actually the root cause of the problem is going to lead to problems every single time. And I don't know why, but it's really difficult for many of these coaches and influencers to grasp that. But it seems to be pretty simple for a lot of these people that have gone through this and have suffered through this because they've experienced this anecdotally. And I'm sure some of you that are watching this video have experienced that. And there's the bullshit that you have to go through maintenance, or you didn't do the maintenance process correct whenever you are, slowly going out of your caloric deficit out of 12 or 16 weeks or so. But that is the heart of renewals for fitness coaches. Oh, we have to do your cut next for the next 12 weeks. Oh, we have to, do a maintenance next. Oh, we have to bulk next. So we're going to have to renew for another 12 weeks. And then basically apply that method next. So we're just cutting and bulking, we're just going through maintenance, going through this endless cycle of bullshit, all while basically dysregulating the function of all of our hormones that are responsible for weight loss, just to stay stuck. Because the moment you increase your caloric intake after doing that and after slowing down your metabolic rate, you're going to see some serious consequences. Every single time, I can pull up randomized controlled study, one after another. Multiple studies that show this, as well as many anecdotes of my clients who do not do a caloric deficit and still see weight loss results, and many people that do a caloric deficit and always see a regression in weight. And people will argue, oh, they didn't go through the maintenance process correctly. Okay, so we're supposed to just go through this process our entire lives. You're basically saying that your philosophy just revolves around, 60 to 70% of the American population that is overweight. They just are eating too much, and that's it. They're just eating too much. I mean, that is so stupid. There's no other way to really put it. It's just not a very intelligent statement. You're not solving the root cause of the problem. It's an overflow paradigm, like Dr. Jason Fung has said in his Obesity Code book. You are spiking your insulin through the roof with foods that give you a very negative insulin response, and you are overflowing your fat cells with glucose. It's not because you're just eating too much. That can play a role, but it's not the ultimate cause of the problem. And the fact that these coaches will continue to abide by their flawed philosophy with all this research, with all these anecdotes, and with all this real science in front of their face, they continue to preach the bro science and then push it onto you. And we see it time and time again, over and over again. And surely on this video, I guarantee you, there's going to be somebody commenting on this video saying that I'm full of shit or I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't care. I don't have time to respond to those comments. They're uneducated. They don't know what they're talking about, and the philosophy is flawed. I have shown so many randomized control trials about this. A lot of people want me to talk about this because it's something that's pushed on the internet all the time. It's a new trend. It's cool to be in a deficit now, and a lot of people do it for that reason as well. But that's another reason I talk about it, because it's something that everyone is doing right now, and they don't really know the repercussions of it. And there are people that I know that have gone through the process, or even have gone through the bullshit maintenance process where they're bulking and cutting or slowly adding calories back in just to decrease it again. Do you really want to do that the rest of your life? The rest of your life, you're just going through a bulk and cut cycle. You're just constantly, meticulously counting your calories and making sure that with each and every meal, you are exceeding a certain caloric limit. That is so stupid. I mean, there is an endless amount of analogies that we can come up here, that completely dispute that. Not only the randomized controlled data, not only my anecdotes as well as many others, but we can also use the analogy of the 1920s whenever pretty much everybody was in great shape. And the main reason for that is because we did not have the same foods in our environment like we do today. That's the main catalyst. And no one seems to really talk about that. Of course we were eating a little bit more, right, today in comparison to the 1920s, but it wasn't this gigantic difference. We weren't in the United States. It's not like we were in France. We weren't eating these super small portions with very, very low calories. It's not like everybody had a macro calculator in the 1920s. Come on. It's really simple. So I can come up with analogy after analogy, show you multiple randomized controlled studies. I can show you all of my client testimonials of guys that have actually applied my approach that focuses on optimizing the function of their hormones and still eat 3,000 calories and lose weight. I mean, it doesn't matter. But even then, people will hate, and I don't care. I've accepted that. But just to tell you, as the person that is looking to actually see the results they want to see in a sustainable way, get ready for that. There's going to be people all over the internet that are going to advocate for this, and that's really going to be 90% of influencers or coaches. And that's why, the ultimate reason why most people do not like them, do not trust them, and why they have such a horrible reputation. Because they do not fulfill on their promises. They give you a lot of empty promises with no results, right? Maybe some initial results that they'll use and put on their highlight page, but then after that, if you don't go through the maintenance process, or if you have one cheat day, or you have one day where you double your caloric intake, even if it's from somewhat of a healthy source, you're going to gain a lot of that weight back, if not all of it. And you really don't see that on their highlight page. You really don't see them talking about that, but that's really what's going on. And if you think about it, another analogy for you, like I said earlier, 60 to 70% of the American population is overweight. Really, if you think about it, if 90% of influencers and coaches are advocating for a caloric deficit, advocating for caloric restriction, and the majority of people are doing that right now to lose weight, which is true, then wouldn't we see the majority of people have this problem solved? Wouldn't we see that statistic a little bit lower, not at 60 or 70%? We do though. And the reason why 20 to 30% are outliers and are losing weight consistently and are seeing really good results is because they are not counting and restricting calories like the other 60 or 70%. Those are just statistics, but you get the point. The majority of people that are staying stuck are following stupid advice like that from fitness coaches and influencers, and that's why many people do not like them and do not trust them. So that is it for this video. I hope you liked it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're a fitness influencer or coach that's pissed off about it, get out of here. Or if you want to just waste your time in the comments section, I'm not going to respond to it. Go ahead, knock yourself out. You're not proving a point to anybody, and I feel sorry for your clients. So message me on Instagram at itsbobbyobrien if you want more information about how I can help you lose weight consistently without counting or restricting a single calorie, or book in that call below with the link in the video description if you want to speak with me directly on how I can help you do exactly that and fully customize a program that is made just for you. So I will see all of you in the next video.